replicated in the other part of this country. So that's what we see for ourselves.
I'm not supporting stealing, but these politicians need to be taught a lesson.
Your number one station for talk. Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you so much for staying with me. It's 50 minutes past 1, and today, like I told you, we will be scrutinizing and asking some question with regards or relating to the last release result from the West African Examination Council. Okay, it's gotten lots of parents, students, and all stakeholders, talking and asking questions as to, is the educational standard in Nigeria dropping, or what exactly is happening? Well, to have this conversation with me is Dr. Juliet. Dr. Juliet is a distinguished leader and consultant whose extensive and significant senior leadership experience spans over 2 decades across key sectors of the economy, and she's renowned for her dynamic and result-oriented approach. She has excelled in both the public and private sectors and consistently demonstrated her prowess as a management consultant, business strategist, coach, and mentor. And she is also one who has her onions in the education sector because she is a certified organizational and business analyst, certified management consultant, and a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultant, Business and Leadership Coach, education and skills development consultant, and a whole lot in one. We're glad to introduce Dr. Juliet. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. I'm fine. Can you hear me, Dr. Juliet?
I can hear you.
The network is very, very, very bad. Can I call you on WhatsApp? Okay. Wow. All right. So the phone line, we've been experiencing that, and I guess it's telling on the quality of the phone call. So I would have to call Dr. Juliet via the phone line now. So let's try to redial that.
Just a little more. Life got better when I lost you, but every day I hate you just
Audio
Now, hello, Dr. Juliet. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Oh.
you. I can hear you.
Very crystal clear. Thank you
you.
so much for joining me, Dr. Juliet.
Thank-
Yes. So quickly,
Thank
let's get into it. I mean, the last WAEC results was quite very heartbreaking and very shocking to see. It's a sharp decline from the performance of 2024, because this year, out of over 1.969313 candidates who sat for the exam across 23,554 schools, it was said that only 754,545 students, representing about 38.232%, obtained a minimum of 5 credits covering their core subjects, which includes English and mathematics. So this has gotten parents, students saying, look, there needs to be an overhaul of WAEC and all of that. So my question this afternoon, is it the fault of WAEC? Is it a decline in education standard in Nigeria? What actually, do you think could be the reason why we have this sort of results?
Okay. Thank you, Swat.
You're welcome.
I'll do my best to at least share my opinion as clearly as I can.
Okay.
Because what we are seeing manifest in these results and everything is a problem that cannot be addressed with just one straightforward answer.
Yes.
All stakeholders need to share in this blame or in this challenge. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the stakeholders, of course, we're looking at the examination bodies themselves, the schools, the parents, the teachers, the students. I guess those are maybe the core stakeholders.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and you have to look at the answers, seeing the role each of these ones have to play.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, everything that happened at the end of the day, the people who are the receiving end are the children, the students. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they also have a role to play in this. So when we look at it, of course, this problem didn't start today. Something that maybe they start degenerating. And I just beg me to borrow from a phrase from the Bible I read, which says that what can the righteous do if the foundation be destroyed? Okay. The foundation, because when I see a problem, I don't want to address the symptoms. I want to look at the foundation of that problem. Where did it start from? What's the root problem? Okay.
Yeah.
The country is challenged when it comes to corruption and everything, and I see that has infiltrated the fabric of our education system.
Yeah.
And it's rather unfortunate. Even when a list of schools say, schools involved in malpractices, if you look clearly, you see that there might be some form of victimization also. If there's so many things going on you don't want to hear. I've had the opportunity to chat with some people who actually are directly involved, and then also students who participated in this examination and everything. And I kind of see a lot of like a cobweb of issues popping up and further complicating the matter. But of course, if it's going to be addressed, there's a key role that the examination bodies have to play.
Yeah.
For instance, if you want to make a pot of soup or you want to cook or something, let's say you want to make egusi soup, right?
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, you've decided you want to make egusi soup. You don't just go throwing things into the pot and expect to see the soup you want.
Yeah.
As a country, you want to first identify who do we want to produce, what quality of students, citizens do we want to produce through the education system. And education system is the bedrock of everything that we want to achieve as a country. That's the truth. And so if we say, okay, this is a definition, we'll give it clarity. This is the kind of soup I want to make. It has to taste this way, taste that way, have all of these elements. That determines the ingredients, the scheme of what, the curriculum, and what you're measuring. Because that's where the exam comes in.
Yeah.
If every year there is continuous engagement, interface between the schools and the bodies and everything, we will spot this problem early enough.
More news
to know that, yes, this is where these children are headed, but this is where we want them headed. This is what we need to do.
All right, Dr.
I
Julia,
don't
let me
know
just
if
pause you
you
small. Just pause so that we'll just take this quick commercial.
Is set. The champions are returning, and this time it's for glory. Get ready for the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. Kicking off August 11th at 4 p.m. from the powerhouse cities of Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Lagos. Past winners now face off in the national finals to answer one question: who will be the champion of champions? At 4 p.m., Abu Francis Helen Ebo of Government Science Secondary School, Piakasa Maitama Abuja, takes on Amuze David of Adebola Baptist Senior Secondary School, Lagos. On the topic, loyalty to tribe is more celebrated than loyalty to country in Nigeria. Then at 5 p.m., Majesty Joseph Odiochegbe of Government Day Secondary School, Karu Abuja, goes head-to-head with Afolayan Shongoluye of Christian High School, Lekki. On the topic, modern students are being overtested. 2 fierce battles, 4 brilliant minds, 1 crown, 1 winner. Who will rise? Who will differ the best? This is I Beg to Differ, the Tournament of Champions. Don't miss it. I Beg to Differ starts August 11th from 4 p.m. Proudly supported by Obi Weezy, Diamonds and Pearls Travels Limited, Ejanla Restaurants, Chrisland High School. I Beg to Differ, the Tournament of Champions.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying. Dr. Juliet, thank you for hanging on. You were on a point. Please go on. Hello, Dr. Juliet?
Hello.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, as I was saying, we need to look at what do we want to achieve at the end of the day, from the time the children get into the secondary schools and when they're writing the final exams at the SS3 level. And if there's close monitoring and collaboration, we definitely will not end up with this kind of surprises. So I see a gap in that, in the collaboration amongst the stakeholders. I also see the fact that, I think I was just trying to make an illustration. So, for instance, the IGCSE, which is the International General Certificate Examination, school examination, as driven by the UK system, which a lot of students in the private schools do take. There are a lot of private schools in Nigeria that also expose their children to writing these exams. But, before they get to that stage, I know they write things like checkpoints at different stages of their progression, and they finally write the IGCSE. So, in that case, you can't be surprised by the outcome because you already know what level they are, their performance at the different stages of the checkpoint. And I want to say that I want to liken that to what we could do regarding our own exam system, the WAEC, not only the WAEC, NECO, and all of that.
Yeah.
So that we don't end up with this kind of surprises. Every year, this thing has been degenerating. It's been it's been dropping as in when it comes to the percentage of passes.
Okay.
And this year, I think there's just some funny thing that's happening right now. I don't know why. I think I'm getting worried about this word, this particular word entering our education system. That's the word. Is it glitch, right?
Yes.
When they say technical glitch
Technical
and all
glitch.
of that, that's the word we need. We need to attack that. It's like a virus. I don't know where it's coming from. Why should that word be coming up? Is it moving from political field to now enter the education system?
I don't know. I mean, because it's the same thing that happened during the JAMB. You remember the JAMB incident too?
Yes.
The same thing, and they said it was technical glitch.
Yes. We need to. That's when I heard that. I mean, I saw the word recurring. I'm like, oh, we're getting to another phase. This corruption and all kinds of things that's going on, whatever we want to call it, is beginning to come up with a new name. That's what I can see.
Yeah.
And it's important we address it at this point.
So let me ask
I don't
you.
know what they want to call it, but they should look for another name.
Indeed.
Because what is happening is embarrassing, to say the least. And it's also demoralizing to the students.
Exactly.
Because these are students that when they go outside the country, they do very well. See
Really.
the great achievers we have amongst our Nigerians, 14-year-old, 12-year-olds in the US, in the UK. I mean, it's mind-blowing what they're achieving.
Yeah.
You can have a roll call on that. There are loads and loads of them. So our children are brilliant. That's the truth. Our children are intelligent, they are brilliant. And you need to also understand that there's something called multiple intelligence. So it's not just this one way fits all kind of thing.
Yeah.
Most of these children, how have we been working with them over the years? What have we been putting in them? How the scheme that they were taught in the school, is it reflected in the kind of exam they are writing? And you remember last time I was at your station, I talked about the teaching to the higher level of the Bloom's taxonomy.
Yeah.
What if the exams are actually assessing them at the lower level of Bloom's taxonomy? Of what use is that? Have we even looked at the quality of the exams we're passing on to these children?
So that's my worry, Dr.
The
Juliet.
training they have in their classes.
That's one of my worries, right? Because you look at the private schools and the public schools, there seems to be a big time gap, like in terms of what the private schools are doing. The last time he came, he talked about different kind of curriculums like the Montessori and different, you're the one who knows these things. Yeah. But then in the public school, they are just stuck with one sort of, but then these people come together on the same platform, which is WAEC or NECO, or whatever platform it is, or JAM, and they have to answer the same question. How does this affect also the output in terms of differences in curriculum, or is it the same curriculum? I really don't know how it is, but can you help us answer that?
Okay, yes. Actually, it's almost like a confusion there, right?
Yes.
It's so mind-blowing what's going on.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, schools make efforts. I see them try a lot. I mean, the schools that are really, really doing their job, you see them make efforts to ensure that these children are not, should I say, they are not disenfranchised or shortchanged at the point they're going to write their exams. So they kind of do a lot of preparations for them. I know even from our own basic level, where we have a document that we call Roadmap to Success in Common Entrance, Roadmap to Success in External Exams and everything. So there are features we'll bring in to make sure these children get that exposure, understand how to write these exams, and then also build the speed, build the discipline, the focus, understand the terminology, understand that when somebody says list, describe, enumerate, summarize, or whatever different terminologies that you get to see when you're reading the exam questions, what they mean and how to approach them. Somebody will not say list and you go and describe or write 10 pages. Somebody will not say summarize or enumerate and all of that, or illustrate. You need to understand those words.
Yes.
So we go to that level. But what I'm saying is that when these children are going through the school, if there's no close interface between the bodies and the schools, sometimes some of this gap could go unnoticed until it's too late.
When you say bodies, what do you mean? Is it the WAEC or
the WAEC, the
NECOs, yeah,
whatever, which other end? And we also have the in the FCT we have the ERC. I think they also have one exam they get to write, but that's for the junior classes. But what I'm saying is that all of them need to know what are we expecting, what is the syllabus saying, and then how are the schools also driving. There's a template. Of course, they have interface with lots of principals and everything. They prepare them, they guide them, explain. But at the end of the day, like I said, what can the righteous do when the foundation is destroyed? These people, the bodies still have a lot of questions to answer. There are so many things happening that we can't say on the radio and all of that. There's so much they know. Even when those supervisors go to the schools, what transpires? Do you victimize the school because they refuse to play ball?
There's that element, right?
Well, my dear, things happen. But what I'm saying is that it goes across. Now, with the school as well, there's so much responsibility on them. I know there are some schools that you see a parent go in there and say, look, I want my child to get this, get that. And the school said, no, the child has to earn it. The child will have to be the one to write the exam,
Write the
and
exams,
earn
yeah.
that score. And the
Yeah.
parent takes the child and says, no, take them to another school. I know a school that is a bit in the outskirts that I know the owner is standing her ground to say, yes, the right thing has to be done and everything. And this year, I heard they only registered one candidate for the
Wow.
WASSCCE exam.
Because of the overwhelming request by parents for
Yes,
children to pass.
Yes, because they don't want, they don't feel, I don't know, maybe they're not confident that the children can actually sit and write these exams and pass by their own merit or on their own merit, because if not, why would you want to be looking for quick fixes? Or take it to where you feel that, yes, they can be helped one way or the other. So that's why I say all stakeholders have a blame in this, have to share in this blame.
Yeah.
But it starts with the bodies, the structure, the transparency, the discipline, the caliber of people that they send out there, that interface for them, and all of that matters a lot. They can automate some of these processes, but even in the automation, just like we're seeing these technical glitches now, if the corruption has started from the analog stage, all they do is migrate it to the digital, and it becomes full-blown, becomes bigger. Because some things, remotely or not remotely, can be manipulated, and nobody is able to check it or stop it. There are so many things. Honestly, Swat, it's not an area I want to really delve into, but I'm just saying that we all have a part to share in this. You also, when you go down to the teacher, you say, okay, quality of teachers.
Yeah.
Like I talked about it, that sometimes the teachers will teach based on their own competencies.
Yes.
And because of that, there might be areas, because they are not so competent on, if you say English or mathematics and everything, I'm not good in geometry, I just teach around the other areas I know I'm very comfortable in. And the children also become deficient in their learning. Nothing wrong with team teaching. Okay, I'm not good in this area. Okay, I have another colleague that is very good in it. So let's teach this topic together. You take this topic. This is my class. Plan your timetable in a way that, yes, you can leverage the strength of your colleagues to deliver that course to the best of your ability, to the way that the children can understand it. I don't believe one person can teach a concept fully and the children will.
Hello? Okay. Hello? Okay.
What was I saying? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Why did we stop?
Just continue. Don't worry.
Okay. So like I said, so when I'm trying to look at
the competency of teachers and, areas they're comfortable. So children get deficient in those areas too that, Hello? Hello?
No, I said hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Somebody is really trying to call me.
Sorry about that.
Can we call back here? Can I don't know, how do I do this?
Okay. Should I call you back in like 5?
They're interrupting.
Okay.
Call me back in like a minute or two. Let me let them know I'm on another call.
All right then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, I'm trying to examine what's actually happened or what is happening with our education system, with the examination system, in Nigeria. Is it a case of students getting lazy, not reading, and like Dr. Juliet raised the issue of parents who are also stakeholders in this whole stuff, trying to enable their children? Because it's not the first time, you get to hear of stories of parents who want to take their children to miracle centers. They even call them miracle centers, or what's the name they call them? Places that are renowned for passing massively in terms of exams like this, whether WAEC or NECO. So parents feel more comfortable to take their children there because they know that all they have to do is pay some money and they will be helped, they will be enabled without allowing these children. Then, the question arises as to why do you take your children to school to go through the process of years of studies from JS1 to SS3, only for you to want to, quicken the process and not allowing them to actually put into use through examination. So many people have also problem with examination as a true test of knowledge and stuff like that. So there are many issues around this. But this sharp decline, which we had compared to last year, this year is just barely 38.4% or thereabout, which by all standard, 38.32%, sorry, which is a failure in itself. If you have 30 something over 100, it's fail. You're not even up to 40 or 45, which can give you maybe a mini pass or something like that, So that's what we're battling with, and we're asking the question, what can be done? Stakeholders, the students, the teachers, the parents, and then government also has a role to play in all of these things, and then the examination bodies too. So that's a conversation that we're having. Let's see if we can get back Dr. Juliet, and then we will also take your own comments once we're done with that. All right, stay with me. Okay, so we're back with Dr. Juliet. Hello, Dr. Juliet.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, then.
I can hear you.
Yes, please go on.
Sorry for that.
No problem.
Okay, so like I was saying, we're looking at the role the stakeholders all have to play. I mean, we can go very elaborate, but I'm just trying to touch on the key areas. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm to recap, when talking about the examination bodies, it's important that they also look at their systems, the structures they have in place. Is it working? Is it delivering? The people, the IT infrastructure, and all of those other logistics that come to play when it comes to when they are administering the exams, and also the engagement, collaboration with the schools and other agencies. Because when it comes to these technical glitches, I expect that there should have been some, of course, pilot tests and all of that done to confirm that these things are working efficiently and is hitch-free. And so many things should be deployed to put in place. So during the time of the exams, you don't want to take chances. So if before you rely on NEPA, you use generator,
yes,
like
yes.
Do you understand? So you don't, whatever backup, everything. I mean, there are tools to drive such things, because that is those are very important exams that cannot be treated like that.
With kids,
then we'll talk about Kids Globe. Yeah. So when we talk about the schools, the same thing I'm also saying. We need to know what we want. When schools that stand there, parents need to also understand. Maybe because someone can fail and fail honorably, And then, but the important thing is being able to know what we stand for. Not because I know that private schools, of course, where is all there's business part of it, but education is not just like any other sector. Why money needs to be made, the business has to be profitable, but where the service cannot be compromised, the standard cannot be compromised. There's so many things that come to bear that we cannot jeopardize just because of money. So if parents come with their pressure, schools should know what to do about it, and parents also need to be enlightened on the importance of aligned merit and the process to prevail. But it becomes a problem when the parents know they have options. So the school that is trying to be firm, can actually begin to be the loser at the end of the day. If the examination bodies, the parents, and the other schools are not all speaking the same language.
Okay.
If corruption happens at the other level, it affects the other ones. It affects every other level.
Yeah.
I understand that there's times that when even the exam you're writing that day, sometimes you go online, you already see that somebody has already put it out there.
Yeah.
So how do these things come out?
Exactly.
How do they come out?
Questions. Honestly.
Thank you.
So Dr. Jill, let me ask you this question, right? There are some people, some educators who have made some very serious comments. Like they said that subjecting WASSCE, as a standardized evaluation for secondary school leavers and a basic requirement for tertiary institution admission to trial and error is unacceptable. And they argued that the inconsistencies in such high-stake exams could damage the credibility of Nigeria's academic qualification both locally and internationally. Do you agree with this? I mean, is it long overdue for us to expand and just maybe try other methods?
There's need for overhauling. There's need for total review of what's going on right now. It's not serving the purpose.
So what would you suggest as alternatives, or in terms of adding to what we have in the Nigerian system? Because I realize that some of our students, even with
adding to
the
what you have, do you want to kill the student? Do you know how many exams these children get to write in the name of final exams? It's too much. And they'll still go and write post-UME exam and all of that. What exactly are we looking for? And all of these things are having errors, having fault, are we going to come up with 6 different exams before we know whether the child...
Okay, so what can we do? Because if you are saying that, if you are saying that allowing students, or making WAEC a standard evaluation for secondary school is not enough or is faulty, then what else can the righteous do when the foundation is... How did they say that thing?
The righteous run for safety.
What do we do? Seriously, I mean, because if not WAEC, then what else? We have WAEC, we have NECWA, like you said, we have post-UTME, we have a series of exams and all of that.
That's why, if you remember, that's why I started with that first statement to say, if you want to cook a pot of soup, you need to first be clear what you want to make. What kind of children are we trying to raise in our society? We need to be realistic about this.
Yeah.
There are some schools that are not just educating for competency, not about passing exams. Because, what is the end of that exam? Because we want to be able to enter university, and that is the only relevance it's having right now. It's not really testing for competency in these children.
Yeah.
And as a country, I think we need competency more than just the AAA that will take you to get into that university that you want. So can we also have a competency testing standard or exam that the universities can also consider? I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
That these children can do in their because, for instance, if my intelligence level is IQ or so, quotient or forgive me, I'm just blanking out now. If my competency is, for instance, in the arts, and then I know that I flourish when I'm in that space.
Yeah.
Is there a way to use that to at least assess me? Let me get into the university of my choice to study that same passion, that art, and forget all these plenty English, A in this, A in math, English, in science, in whatever. Meanwhile, this child is yearning to just do music, yearning to do art, yearning to do ICT, whatever it is. They can demonstrate, they can build app. They can write programs,
Yeah.
Test them in that. Let them go on with their life. Because we must have multiple paths multiple career paths, or multiple entry to a different career.
Indeed.
We must be able to evaluate. And is anything that's affecting the technical education system we have in Nigeria? If I do an apprenticeship for 7 years with an Igbo man, what does that, how can I measure that when I take it to, I want to now from my apprenticeship, I've done that, I've gotten my mastery in that area, but now I want to get the academic certification. The organization or institution should be able to take that 7 years and evaluate it and say, based on this, you are equivalent of OND or equivalent of HND. With that, you can progress to masters or progress to HND. Should be able to evaluate that so that these children are not disenfranchised. The 7 years is not thrown away or useless, because truly what they acquired there, if you check it, might even be more credible, more useful than the 4 or 5 years or 6 years of reading textbook and writing exam and getting all the A's that you cannot defend with practical knowledge.
Very true.
It's time to think outside the box. It's time to break down some of the strongholds and structures and rebuild this whole system. And it starts from the top. We know that they are making money so profitable to administer exams and everything. Can we revisit the framework? Can we revisit the template? Can we collapse these things and say, you know what? If you are in this school, you can choose to write the exam in this form or write it in the competency form, and both of them will be assessed, and this is what it will turn out to and everything. If that's too complicated for us to think about, then review the corruption in the system. Let's deal with it. Because corruption is part of the problem, the major problem where that's leading to all of these issues. I don't really think the children are to blame, because the children, they go in the direction you're leading them.
Very true.
The parents need to be clear. What do they want from their children? How do they want to drive it? He's not looking for the school that will help you with the shortcut. It's the school that will help your child know that they should be able to merit this result. So if they don't come scoring all A's, they should be able to have some A's that they can defend, and have the C's they can defend, and the B's, and be happy moving forward. Because at the end of the day, those are the quality of people that will make the difference that we're looking for. I've seen somebody come for an interview and said she made first class in mathematics, and we gave her basic mathematics problem to solve, and she could not. And I looked her in the face and told her, this is not your result. Where did you get it from? And she could not answer me. She could not defend it. So that scares me, because these people will end up going to the hospitals and they say they are doctors and they cannot deliver and will be endangered. So why can't we let these children just flourish in their own areas of intelligence
but
and
you
begin
see,
to create assessment that work with it?
Dr. Julia, as much as what you're suggesting is so amazing, and I feel that is how a system should operate in terms of education, outlook to education, because the other time when you came to the studio, you were telling us of how you visited like so many countries. You've gone for education, what do you call it now, maybe seminars, and you see how the system works.
Yes.
In Nigeria, you have a situation where you have a minister of education who is not even an educationist, who does not understand a thing about how education system works. So having that sort of, most of the time, it's just a political appointee, and then they come spend 4 years, 8 years, and you practically don't see any changes. If anything, it keeps getting worse. So what role does the government have to play in all of this? Because people like you who are specialists or experts in this can only suggest and push for it, but it would take a government to rise up and say, well, you know what, let's look into these recommendations. Let's enforce it, or, back it up with laws and ensure that this is enforced in the school system in Nigeria.
See, first and foremost, one of the things I want to say is that don't play politics with the development of the people. And what is happening in our country, we're playing politics with the development of the people. There are developmental issues, agencies, ministries that you don't just throw around in the name of trying to give appointment to people. People should be able to, go in there and make an impact.
Yeah.
Even when that is not your field, everything you can learn, everything you can expose yourself to, building up the knowledge. Education is continuous learning. And for every human being, you should have that to continuous learning. That's why I always talk about growth mindset. So long as you have the basic skills, you can learn anything. There are some specialized fields that you shouldn't even joke with, But there are areas that that you cannot continue to build yourself. We all didn't come into this world with the IT knowledge, right? We all learned it. We learned to use the computers. We learned to do certain editing and all of that. So some skills you can learn. So the willingness of those that are put in those places to also embrace this challenge and move quickly is important. I'm saying that because if we don't have the ideal situation where the right people are put in the right places, which is what it's supposed to be. You're trained for engineering, you are put to head an engineering outfit or facility.
Yeah.
You're trained in the medicals, you head the medical field. You're trained in aviation, you head the aviation sector.
Yeah.
You don't move people like that and just drop them in places and they are wallowing. I know you're supposed to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
When you're given an appointment, you start immediately. So it's not like you have 3 months to go and pick fresh knowledge to understand that field. So that becomes a bigger problem. And that is part of what's affecting this country. It weakens the system. Now, for me, I'm thinking generally, for a country like ours, there are key areas to just focus on. Number one, the education sector, the doctors, and the administrators. If we can even focus on these 3 areas, I'm sure some things will fall in. For instance, when you talk about, government appointments and people stay 4 years and they go, what about the administrators in those agencies? Some of them are there, they stay for 35, 38 years before retirement, right?
35 years.
If we don't focus on them, yes, if we don't focus on them or focus only on the 4 years of people that are appointed, we'll still have a problem. And people should be guided that when they are appointed, you don't go lording it over those administrators. Like they are professional administrators that understand how these things work, then their job is to guide the person who come in there. It's like the soldier and the barrack. So they say soldier go, soldier come, barrack remains. The administrators remain. The people working in these agencies remain. They are there 38 years. So you can imagine the damage when the wrong people are in those
places. Yeah, indeed.
You're giving jobs to people to come and work in an agency. They don't even have the criteria. Just like in the teaching profession. For instance, there's a country we visited. I don't even need to read that. That is Brazil. As at the time I was talking to a professor in one of those centers, he was talking about how their students have becoming tops in the World Skills Olympics also every year. And, so when you talk about top 10, top 3, top 5 and everything, you must see their names, you must see their students. And I'm like, how did you achieve this? He said, well, it's not rocket science. All they do is that in their institutions, in those centers where they're training these students, maybe you have a center that have like 50,000 students, 30,000, whatever, or, across the different campuses or centers. And you see that every year they are graduating these students. The top 5, sometimes top 3 or top 10, whatever, but the top ones, let's say top 10, top 5, get retained by these schools.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means? What that means that they look at what you're supposed to be earning if you're to leave their school. Maybe you're the first class student. You're the 2-1 student. If you leave, you go to the oil sector, oil and gas sector, or the tech sector, you're going to be paid this amount, you're going to be given this kind of package and everything. And that's the offer they put together and give you. So they give you that offer so that you stay back and group others to be like you.
Indeed.
So your job is to begin to lecture and teach in that school and mentor. They will attach maybe 3 to 5 students, if 10 students, for you to be mentoring during that coming year. And these students you're mentoring will now go and compete again and they come tops. Indeed. And so they've been replicating the excellence year in, year out.
Wow.
So it's not rocket science that they are meeting up, they are scaling, they are topping the chart.
That's good.
I feel that so when I look at the teaching sector as well, I mean the teaching category, I'm talking about the stakeholders now, I feel that if the schools continue to hire those who are not able to get job elsewhere, and so they decide, okay, let me just take up teaching job, and nothing is done about it, we'll continue to have the same problem.
Yeah.
We've had an interview of some teachers some years back, and I said, okay, we need to have a macro teaching session, of course, a practical session, and then we had to take a particular class for this person, the so-called teacher, the applicant, to teach these children, and we're observing, that was the upper primary and everything, and this teacher taught them a topic. I think it was a topic in math or so, or English, and then when I think 15 minutes, 20 minutes macro teaching section, and it's okay, fine. The teacher finished, dropped the marker, and left the class. While I was still discussing with the 2 other faculty members that joined in observing the macro teaching, I saw one of our students get up from his desk, went straight to the board, took the board wipe, cleaner, and the marker, wiped something that the teacher had written, and then wrote the correct spelling.
Wow. Interesting.
I'm telling you, he never said a word to anybody. The boy wrote it there, dropped the marker, and went back to his seat. The teacher was no more there. And that thing, I'm like, wow. Because, when we observe, you don't correct anybody, right? They finish, then you can now start to evaluate and everything. We noticed some of these things, we never said a word. But this child, obviously, I think he was just so disturbed by it, or how something,
yes, you can't get your eyes off
something is not right. You can't get his eyes off it. He wouldn't even wait for anybody. He didn't even ask, oh, please, can I
just went straight and cheat.
Wipe the face.
Wow.
And rewrote it.
Interesting.
And so that's to tell you, imagine if we were to hire that kind of person. That means it's even the children that will be teaching him. So it's the quality of the teachers that are coming in, people who are applying. If as a country, we pass a policy to say the best graduating people should be retained in the education sector, over time we begin to have a better quality of students. Because you can't give what you don't have. No matter how you desire to give, to do that, the incompetency that they come in with, they will not pass it to the children, and that incompetence will become times 2, times 3.
Indeed.
There are lots I picked from my own early stages in school, the things I was taught in primary, secondary, that I'm also still trying to unteach myself till today. because the teachers didn't know any better. So so it's garbage in, garbage out. They teach you, so you get back, you get into the real world and see, oh no, this was wrong. My teacher taught me this, but no, but we don't want that anymore. Let's begin to be serious about the education sector.
Very true.
When I make an illustration about countries that have taken education so seriously, my mind always goes to Singapore. And I remember looking at one of their notes, and I saw that education was one of their, I think they call it secondary theme, the same like a symbol, but secondary theme. So the secondary theme is about 7 of them, focuses on the aspirations of the country. Education is one of them. It's key. It's on our currency. So we have our currency, our money, naira, 20 within 100 naira note, 200 naira note, 500 naira note, 1,000 naira notes. These are supposed to be our marketing tools. They're supposed to be like our flyers as a country to market even our aspirations to the children and to the public. So what do you have in those naira notes? The children, are they paying attention to these things? I'm saying this now, looking at the role that the children also have to play, and even the parents and even the government. So we don't even put these aspirations on our notes. A country like Singapore, education is what they've used to transform their country to make it first class. From third world, moving from third world to first class.
To first
they didn't
world.
joke with education.
Yes.
To the point that they had to put it in their currency.
Indeed, I mean, no country
As
can
part of their team.
experience meaningful development except education is in the front burner. I mean, where you keep spending billions and billions of dollars in insecurity, how would education possibly move forward in this country? I mean, it's
do you
just,
understand? For instance, there's a phrase that has been on the social media. I'm sure you must have heard it when they say, "Oh, education is scam," or "Education."
Oh yes, education is scam.
Right? Thank you. Okay, now have the bodies or the authorities, let's say Ministry of Education, have they even sat down to look at the impact of that phrase on these students? Because some children are very impressionable. They are gullible. You say those things over and over again, they begin to see it as a scam. They don't take it seriously anymore. So the attitude towards writing the exam may even be very relaxed or
relaxed and laid
nonchalant.
back. Yes, exactly. Anyway,
because it looks like a harmless phrase, but that phrase could actually be damaging their mindset. We need to also begin to look at that. Then also the schools, when we're preparing the children, what were the things we're saying to them? What are the things we're exposing them to? Did you at any point bring in other people, maybe people who have made top grades, first class, to come and talk to these children from time to time? Begin to share ideas, talk to them how to do it. Like those kind of mentorship from the best hands. I remember when I had to work on the kids who were preparing to go into secondary school, we had to bring in some of our graduates that were really doing very well, about 3 that were invited to come and share with the children the experiences, what secondary school like, how do you set your goals, what are your expectations, different things. I mean, that was so mind-blowing. It was an eye-opener. These children became more conscious of the next level they are going to. What is required of them? How can they be better equipped, prepare for that next phase and everything? We can do that with the exams as well.
okay.
That mentorship from fellow students that have gone through it and have succeeded very well and everything. See how they can help mentor the other ones that are coming up. How they can also guide them. And these are my thoughts, in those areas. And then having a credible PTA that will also encourage that school of thought to say, it's not just about the A's or looking for the school that would solve this problem for us. How can we make sure these children are earning these A's? How can we patiently work with the school and the children to make sure that they come out with the flying colors we want to see? Because the parents have a role to play. Their mindset have to change. Sometimes let me talk about my child own first. I beg. The system is already messed up. I don't want my child to be a victim of the system. So please, whatever people can do, I want my child to excel. I don't blame them anyway. Because it's like, who's saying you? At the end of the day, the child does not pass and the child can't get into school. You are the one to deal with that depression and everything. But the truth is, everyone is a collective. That's why I say all stakeholders to treat this seriously and understand that we are to hold ourselves responsible and accountable for the kind of
Hello? I guess we're having another glitch there. Maybe a call came in or something. All right. Let's just hold on a bit. Hello, Dr. Juliet. Hello. I think we just recall. The thing just started that again, but hey, let's just call her back. Anyways, my colleague just informed me. Okay, I think we have Dr. Gillette back. Hello, Dr. Gillette.
Okay, yeah, I think some calls were coming in.
Sorry about that. Sorry. We'll quickly wrap up so that you can, take your calls. My colleague just informed me that the WAEC review results were reviewed over the weekend, and many students' results were upgraded.
It was moved from 38 to 60.
Yeah, to 60. Yes, over 60%. That's good. But she's saying her concern is.
That's why I'm scared of this. That's why I said this word, this technical glitch thing. We need to look into it.
Very correct.
What exactly is going on?
Because she's saying her concern is that she hopes another glitch will not cause the results to change again. Because if we have another glitch, then that means another change will come, and we can't just keep, hanging on. Whether I don't know even how to say it. It's just not. It's not a good thing.
Whatever happened for this change to happen, whatever led to 38 changing to 60, whatever, it should also be looked into. We need to know exactly how did they address it. All of a sudden, this is coming up.
Yes, to 60.
My dear,
we can't trust that kind of system now.
Improvement.
We can't.
No, it's difficult to trust.
All right, quickly, let me just read some.
They come out clear and be transparent.
All right, let me just read some comments that have come in. Unfortunately, we can't take the call because we're on a WhatsApp and the phone lines are not really going through. So I'll just make do with the messages. Then I'll let you go. Good afternoon, Swat. Thank you for this wonderful discussion on education. I've discovered that the greatest threat to our progress in education as a nation are parents who have not been adequately parented. We must retrace our steps before it becomes too late to avert the impending disaster, says Dr. Alex from Garki. Thank you so much. This one said, the word should be assisted rather than enabled. Thus, the parents pay so that their children will be assisted to pass exam. This is evil, or an evil attitude where the parents are in a hurry to see their word successful without working for it, which on the long run will make for mediocre citizens. The federal government should severely stop this, says Mr. Banky. Thank you so much. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Great job. We said, Swat and the doctor, I don't think we have planned for education in emergency too, says Hafsat. And then this one says, is it INEC that conducted the exam? Because inconclusive and glitches are the hallmark of INEC. Can you imagine? Understand the current leadership. Please, before glitches and witches wipe out our education, can we please deal with the culprits? Says Leo. And that's another thing, doctor. I mean, the punishment. The last time the JAMB registrar came out and was crying and, how can I be very sensitive? Yeah, he has apologized now and all of that. And I don't think any step has been taken in terms of, look, somebody has to pay the price. You have to get off that seat or something. And I'm also sure in the same way, this WAEC thing will just go. Just because they say technical glitches. Impunity seems to be an issue. And for something as serious as the education sector, we use sentiments and politics and just sweep it under the carpet until another occurrence again that brings about national embarrassment, because I can imagine if this reaches other African countries and other international countries that pick up this story about Nigerian students and technical glitches, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. No, I just wanted to chip in something. Even when we're talking about this WAEC or WASSCCE, the 1.9 something million candidates and everything, it's not just Nigeria, because there are a couple of other West African countries that also use the same Nigerian curriculum that write these exams together, which is like Cote d'Ivoire, Benin Republic, and Senegal, one of these other countries. So I think they all make up the number. So we even want to know what part of it is can be assigned to Nigeria, what part of the failure or poor performance, what part of it can be assigned to Cote d'Ivoire and all of that. So we need to know that so that we can holistically address the one that also concerns us. The technical glitch, is it from Nigerian side or is it general? Did it affect those other countries? If it didn't affect those countries, we need to know why did it affect our own country.
Yes.
And what can we do? Like you said, we can't just sweep it under the carpet. Somebody cannot just say technical glitch and walk away. There should be an investigation so that we can learn. So that we can learn. You learn from your mistakes and that we don't make it again.
All right.
But the thing is that we don't usually learn. The words will come up again and again and again.
I will not be surprised, Doctor, if next year this sort of thing happens or another time periodically keeps happening. As long as we don't punish it and trace it to the root and stop it and ensure that there is, steps taken.
Thank God that now we're just saying glitch now. What if tomorrow it becomes crash? Oh, there was system crash or whatever. Because these technical things, IT related things, it gets me worried because it can be crazy if we don't control it. It's not like analog. So we shouldn't even allow glitch to start because from glitch it can progress to something else. Tomorrow somebody's going to use another vocabulary that will destabilize everyone.
Oh yes,
like, okay, where are we headed now?
Reminds me of the election year.
Jargons.
I said it reminds me of the election year and all of that. Like someone is saying now, is it INEC that is conducting this exam? It's kind of funny, but then it's something we need to ponder. Why is that when it comes to us, every time it's one issue or the other? Is it that we're not yet mature? But look at Nigerians. They're doing so well in IT. When you go to Silicon Valley, some of the top dogs there are Nigerians leading the pace. Why can't we employ experts who would ensure that this, processes are well guarded and safeguarded because of the complexity and the dicey nature of it all? But then we treat it with kid gloves. It reoccurs again and again and again, and it becomes a mockery unto us, if you ask me. What
has destroyed our foundation is corruption, really.
Yeah.
What has destroyed that foundation we're talking about is corruption. And unfortunately, corruption has become so powerful that it's almost so difficult to contain it. Yeah. So when you look at all these stakeholders now, what cut across all is corruption. Even if you talk about exam malpractices, it's still corruption. It's driven by corruption. When you talk about some schools being victimized, it's still corruption by different people. You are sent to coordinate or supervise, and you're making demands, or this one is doing that, or parents are doing their own, or somebody is going behind. Do you know that there's some, I don't even want to say this, but there are lots that's going on that is driven by corruption. And there's nothing anyone can do right now except to really take it seriously to say, no, this whole system has to be overhauled. We need to look at it critically and build a system that is sustainable. Okay. But it's the same people that are affected by this virus that we're relying on to rebuild that whole thing. So it's going to be like a vicious circle at the end of the day. And that's where I will kind of exonerate the parents a little bit, because some of them on their own are also doing things to empower their children. You see that some of these children, when they go abroad, it's not just the certificates from school, they've also written some special exams that will equip them to get into the right sector or right industry. So the exam that they've written in our own academic system, in addition to that, they have to write some specialized exams and everything. People don't just take their certificate like that and say, okay, no, you graduated from this, okay, let's give you this job that applies to your sector. I know someone who did chemical engineering and had to go and do another course, and they couldn't take her based on just the certificate or degree she had from Nigeria. She had to just start doing other things to prove that she has that competency for what she's looking for. But that's not supposed to be if there's credibility around our certificates or results.
Yes, very true.
And that is why we have to, all stakeholders, the PTA have to put in their own impact, sensitizing those parents who don't seem to know what they want. People have to be educated and enlightened. Parents should understand that it takes a village to raise a child. Everyone have to be part of this. You will say, I don't want my child to fail. No. Why would your child fail if the child is being properly taught?
Exactly.
If the child is actually studying, if the child is not carried away online. Some children without AI or ChatGPT, they might not be able to write a proper comprehension or composition or something, or answer certain questions. It's true. So we need to look at what's the impact of that. How can we channel this in a positive way than just them becoming totally dependent on it? if they're going to become dependent on it, it means that the exam system has to change. Because if you have grown through the stages using AI, and in the exam hall nobody's giving access to AI, how are you going to do it?
Exactly. All right, Dr. Gillette, let me play this quick voice note. Ruth D is also in the education sector, and she made a contribution. I want you to listen to it. Then I'll read one or two messages. Then we round up. Let's take this quickly.
Good afternoon, Swat, and good afternoon to the guests there. I really wish I know the name of the guests. I didn't follow up on time, but I believe the discussion is a fallout of the recent work results released. Yes, it's quite unfortunate and that we're having these experiences, this type of thing happening. Those in the education sector, a good number of us are not happy about what is happening. And I'm glad that a lot of interactive session has been going on to see the way forward. Even before this work was conducted and the results released, there has been series of meetings from the Ministry of Education down to the Secondary Education Board as to how to improve things. Yes, the truth is, foundationally, there is an existing problem, like a cankerworm that has eaten deep into the fiber of the society. What are parents doing with their children? Yes, stakeholders have a lot to do. From the foundation, what are we doing? Yes, economy has become so hard. Father and mother need to go out there. But the truth is, the anger we have, I as a teacher, I've been in the classroom for 24 years now. Parents are no longer making out time for their children. A good number of parents, truth be told, these children, a good number of them already have Android phone, always on data, a lot of TikTok videos. I tell my learners, do not use your development stage to cloud or stuff your mental faculty, your brain, with unnecessary things. Because when we teach some of these children, because of these things they're exposed to, they cannot connect with what is being taught. Yes, what the guest is saying, where sometimes teachers do not teach content. Some teachers, they might not be good in a particular subject or a particular topic. Yes, they have studied a particular subject in the university, but when they are not good in a particular topic, there's what is called PLC, Public Learning Community. Let's drop our pride. If you are not good, like I teach English language, if I have a problem teaching grammatical expression, I should be able to meet my senior English teachers, senior colleagues, meet them. How do you teach this? Why don't you speak up and learn it? Because this is not difficult to learn. One or two technicalities and you master it so that you don't skip any topic. Well, let me just leave it at this. It's not funny at all.
All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Gila, did you get to listen to that? Did you?
Yes.
All right, great. Let me just read some couple of messages here. Then we, your last comment before we let you go. This one says, "What they know what they are doing about technical glitch. They don't want us to do electronic voting." Can you imagine? They're always relating it to politics in this country. Anyways, thank you, Ambassador Afam. That's your message. Good morning, Nigerian Info presenter. Your topic today is very interesting for me to comment upon. Like Mr. Adeni says, students of nowadays don't have the reading culture. Those days we read a lot of textbook, both day and night, in order to get the best result. Today, students engage in social media habit, which has led some of them to Yahoo and other criminal ways of making money. The government as a body are not helping matters in public schools. The private schools have hijacked the system in Nigeria. They try all they could to make the students in their school to get the best results in order to maintain their prestige. In conclusion, the government and the parents have to wake up to their responsibilities to get a better Nigeria. Nigeria will be great again. Mohammed Sani Yusuf from Kogi Central. Thank you, Mohammed. WAEC has failed. How come bank servers with millions of customers don't have technical glitch by changing account balance of customers? Why only government servers all the time? Database servers is GIGO. It is data. The human enter that is okay. I don't get that part. He says, so if someone has entered the data, there should be quality control department that checks if the score on paper is what is on the system. Simple. It shouldn't be rocket science, says Pastor Sheung in Saburi. Well, that's interesting. Then this one here says, good afternoon, Ma. Electoral malpractices and examination malpractices are Siamese twins in the past educational standard in Nigeria, but the people in power since the inception of our democracy are synonymous with malpractices that corrupted the educational landscape. Okay, thank you so much. Muhammad Musa said, good afternoon, Swat and Doctor. The guest admitted corruption as a major problem and one cannot agree less. My nephew made C3 and after the glitch, it changed to B3. So what happened? All stakeholders partake in the rot. Therefore, we need all hands on deck to solve the problem. That's part of the problem. Nikki said, hello, Swat. This wahala with WAEC is just embarrassing. How do you think the international community sees this? This WAEC result is what the children are using for admission locally and overseas. Very soon, they'll start doubting our results. Parents are very distressed and seeking remarking because no one really knows what's going on. And these children, when they grow older, may also doubt if their results were ever correct. Secondly, WAEC is for West Africa. Did this glitch affect it all? Well, you heard Dr. Juliet. She said it only affected Nigeria. So I don't know how come we're the ones who have this peculiar problem. Good day to you. My name is God's Will from Kubwa. The greatest mistake I made academically was attending a public school. And then this one said, how come that schools now reject C6 for admission that it is C5? Please, what can you say about that? I don't know about that. Then lastly, Emeka from NNPC Tower said, SWAT is so unfortunate that we found ourselves here in a situation where everything is all about money. They use money as a tool to achieve urgent success academically. We are in a country where people forge their certificates just because of power, strike upon strike, and the politicians don't care. Our education system has collapsed. That's why you are seeing all this mess. So don't forget that Nigerians wrote JAM and WAEC during Obasanjo tenure, and we have not witnessed this kind of backwardness in our educational system. No be here we day, where a sitting governor can't even call figures. Only that speaks volume. It's a pity. All right, that's the much we can take. Dr. Juliet, your final take on all, and then your final words too.
Okay, yeah. All the comments have actually still pointed at the same thing that we've been trying to discuss for the past several minutes, the bedrock being the corruption and all of that. But then we're all looking at solutions so that we don't spend all our energy, boiling over the problem, and like I said, every stakeholder should take their own part and treat it with all seriousness. I would have expected that maybe something like Ministry of Education could actually have separate stakeholders meeting with each of this group of people, have with the schools, let them air their views, say their mind and everything, have one with the parents, could be virtual, have one with the parents, have representatives from the students and the teachers, then so you can get all this together and begin to see the pattern, and begin to see what will be the next steps. Because everyone have where it's pinching them. The teachers have where it's pinching them. The schools have where it's pinching them. The students have where it's pinching them. No matter how we say the children are carried away by digital and all of that, it's the way they are. It's somebody who is exposing them to all of that. And I know in the UK now, tabs, I read an article some time ago where they said, tabs they're beginning to discourage tabs in the classrooms and all of that, begin to look at that because they've seen that, there's this negative impact that they need to control or contain before it gets too bad. The same thing with our own system. We need to look at what should we even allow into the classroom, what should we not allow. But I must tell you, if not for the private schools, sincerely, the state of the education in Nigeria would have really been worse. The private schools are doing a lot, especially the ones who went in there to offer service. There are lots of private schools and you can categorize them, but a lot, majority I know are doing what they can in a situation like this. It doesn't mean that they don't have their faults. When they start dancing to the tune of the parent, the compromises begin to happen as well. And then because they want to also shine, they want to say they are producing this number of A's and everything. So they have their own blame and they must deal with it. But generally, the private schools have their, because when you look at the IGCSE, you see that the students are doing well. They write these exams. By merit, they have their scores. So if the children write those exams from private schools and they are doing so well, why should they now have this poor performance in our own WAEC and NECO or JAM and things like that? So that's why I cannot say, the private schools are not, but they are doing well because of the the international exams the children also get to write.
Yeah.
And I also feel like, okay, somehow, if there's a way to even reduce these exams, it's good that they have this option. So if you don't do well in WAEC, NECO will rescue you and things like that. Maybe, I don't know. We need to also see how useful are these things, what impact is it making in the lives of these children, Are they actually, because writing, you finish one set of exam, you sit and start writing another set. It's a lot.
Yes,
It's a lot.
Indeed.
The timetables will come out back to back. You write jam. The children are really trying. I just hope that parents are also giving them multivitamins to help their brain to calm down. You might just say, going to the hall and start writing the double. You finish NECO, you start writing and you write biology here, and things like that. Honestly,
it's a lot.
I remember at my own time, all I did was WAEC. I didn't do NECO, and I passed my papers.
We did NECO. We did WAEC. We did NECO. I just did not do pre-UTME. But we did WAEC and NECO.
They also, like what I'm saying, so they also go right, so there's so much for these kids. And I don't know, the agency or the supervising ministry or whatever should actually really look into this.
Yeah.
Which one is still relevant? Get the feedback of the different stakeholders and begin to see the common thread. And from there, build up something that we think will move us forward. Because really, what has happened this year is a wake-up call.
Honestly.
We should not just brush it aside and move on to another year. Next year might be worse.
Indeed.
I pray that they look into it the way they're supposed to. No need playing politics with the development of the people. It's not because a big mass child fails, you now go and have a glitch somewhere. Or it's not because something happens somewhere, you go and say, okay, let them do this, do that. People speak out, and they only, what somebody had pointed out to me, they only listen when the topics are affected. So, okay, no, this one there. But a lot of people voiceless children are there too, who are also victims of this same system, and nobody to speak for them. We need to look at it very well. We need to make sure there's a balance.
Yeah.
We don't want to get to the point where people will now sit in their bedroom and just say, okay, bring the exam to me or write it and submit. It might get to that. If we have to even do that, it's possible. We can now have a platform. Children sit in their houses, 30 minutes, you take the test and all of that. You can do it, but we just have to have the structure to guide against malpractices so that you can write from your own bedroom and still make sure it's credible. That can be possible. But I think there's need for people to sit down and have like a stakeholders meeting and identify what worked and what didn't work. How did you get here? And how can we begin to improve on this? Everyone have to be on board. And those supervisors go to those schools may need to also be guided or retrained to know what they are looking out for. Because you can't go to those schools that make demands, and if you don't meet your need, you begin to victimize whatever. But those are things that have played out in the recent times. I don't know, but we just have to check it.
All right.
There's just so much. The rot is deep. God will help us.
At the end of the day, God will help us. Indeed.
God will help us.
Every Nigerian always finishes with that statement, God will help us. And it just speaks to our reality, honestly.
Yes. Because it's like the chicken and the chicken and the egg. Which one came for? When you're talking about pointing ahead, you now be wondering, okay, so I'm back to the square one, But when you look at the students, there are three systems that surround this.
This is Nigeria Info.